Hey guys, and welcome to the Mondelez International Google Hangouts. This session is going to focus on our internship offering across Europe. I've got some colleagues from across the continent. I've got two colleagues in France, and then one in the UK. And we're here today just to basically answer any of your questions and to give you an insight into the schemes. We've had questions open for the last week or so we're going to try and work through as many as possible in that time. And then moving on, we'll just give you a bit of an insight as to things that we think you might want to know. So to begin with, I'll give you a bit of an insight as to who I am. So I'm Rich Morris. I'm on the HR graduate scheme. I'm based in Bourneville, which is in the UK, and my first rotation is in the European talent acquisition team. And part of my role is focused on early careers predominantly. So that's why I'm involved in this. So moving on, I'm going to let Claire introduce herself. So she's an intern in France. So I'll just hand you over to Claire now.
Hello, so yes, I'm Claire, working in France around Paris. So my role in here as an intern is to be a product change manager, so basically a product manager for all the projects that concern directly the products that we have, and I'm working on the chocolate category. I'm here in the companies since July, so 4 months. And I choose to go to work in the Mondelez company because for me, I'm working in logistics. And for me, the products that have a shelf life are really interesting, logistically speaking. And I was really interested to work in the food industry. So that's basically why I chose Mondelez.
Thanks for that, Claire. Callum, are you okay just to give the viewers an insight into kind of where you're at with everything and who you are?
Hi guys, I'm Callum. I'm an industrial placement student, taking part in a year internship within the Research Development and Quality Department at Bourneville. So everything that I do is based towards our chocolate brands. I'm at Manchester University studying chemical engineering, and I've been working for Mondelez since July. Why did I apply for Mondelez? Well, I think, as everyone knows, we have really exciting products, and they're products that everyone can relate to. And working in research development and quality is really rewarding, seeing that the future products that we're working on, seeing them distributed and launched to consumers who know and love our brands. So yeah, back to you, Rich.
Cheers for that, Callum. That's great. Hortense, are you okay just for me to pass you over to you and you can give a bit of an insight to the viewers?
Yes, sure. So as Richard said, my name is Hortense. I'm currently working into the marketing part of the company in France, so I'm marketing assistant. I'm doing an internship on the various brands of the biscuits category of Mondelez, so that are called Lu, under the Lu brand. I've been working into Mondelez for 8 months now. I've been doing a previous internship already in Belgium. And now it's been 4 months that I'm in Paris, working on the Lu's. Why I chose Mondelez? It's because for me, it's a company that is working as the American way of doing things. That means straightforwardness, and that's one of my values. So that's mostly why I've chosen Mondelez. Back to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, guys. So moving on, one of the main questions that kept coming up from you guys, from you viewers at home that were submitting questions, was kind of giving insight into a day in the life of an intern. Kind of what do you guys get up to? So to begin with, Callum, can you just give the viewers a bit of an insight into what you get up to and what your role entails?
Yep, thanks, Rich. So as I said, I'm part of the Research Development and Quality Department. Specifically, I'm based in Bourneville, and we focus on the process development of new products within the chocolate category. The specific name of my team is the Process Innovations team. Essentially, our team get given new concepts, new ideas within specific brands, and we are asked if we can produce them on a factory line. Or if perhaps there'll be too many issues or too many challenges to overcome to make a concept into reality. So effectively, we are the link between an idea and the reality. Typical work that I carry out involves lots and lots of trials, testing specific parts of the production of a product. For instance, the backing of a product. The backing's where you scrape off the excess chocolate on a tablet. The backing process might actually be a bit more complicated with a new idea or a new product created, so we may have to carry out tests to see if the products produced on a factory line are the consistent dimensions and weight specified. If I relate typical trial work to a current product that we've just released, if you look at the Marvelous Creation Smashables product, many trials were tested to see to ensure that the product didn't break of its own accord, so in transport and whatnot, but given that it is a Smashables product, it needed to break when the consumer wanted it to break. So many tests were carried out on this idea/concept, and in fact about 170 different mold designs were used until the desired mold design was found. So that's the typical work that you carry out in the process innovations team in the research development and quality department. Back to you, Rich.
Cheers for that, Callum. It's really interesting to kind of get an insight into other functions, especially from my point of view, so I'm sure the viewers agree. Hortense, are you happy just to give a bit of an insight into your role and what you get up to on a day-to-day basis?
Surely. So as I said, I'm in the marketing part, and my internship is a bit different as the other as a marketing assistant, because I'm working on not one brand, but various brands of the biscuit category. That are, for example, big brands that are very known in France are Petit Écolier, Véritable Petit Beurre, and Paille d'Or, or other smaller brands that are more in a regional part of France. They're working more in those regional parts of France. So my internship is mainly based on how to make those brands known to our consumers and how to get new consumers as well. So we are doing tactical plans, for example, in stores installations, so that we can get new consumers. We are also working into TV copies, so the media parts, providing a new media for our brand and to answer the strategy of the brand. We are also working on the business parts, so that means that we have to follow monthly the results of our campaigns and of our brands. So it's doing those analyses, reporting to the management, and evaluating how the marketing tools that we have used has been working or not, and if we should apply them again. So it's mostly for my part, is give the feedback of how the tools have been working and should I recommend them for the next year coming forward. This is mostly my part.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, guys. So moving on, the next sort of questions that we had a lot of questions around international exposure. Obviously, we're a big multinational company, and a lot of the questions were kind of how much international exposure do you get? Now, personally, my role is European. So I'm constantly liaising with people all across the continent, which is great experience. Callum, I know that you've had some international exposure. Are you happy just to talk the viewers through what you've experienced so far?
Yep, so when I started, I think perhaps one of the most unexpected things was that as interns within the RD&Q department, we do get the opportunity to travel. For me personally, I've been to Germany twice, and I've only been working since July. One of the reasons I went to Germany was to go to a different factory that Mondelez own, which is based in Larac. This was to carry out some trials on one of our new products that we hope to release, and the equipment that we needed for the trial wasn't available within Bourneville, so we carried out the trial in Larac, and that took place for a week. Another time I went to Germany was to Frankfurt to carry out some trials on a supplier of some equipment suppliers of an equipment piece that we were hoping to buy to see if the equipment was suitable to produce some of the products that we own. So this was all brilliant international experience. It does depend which team you are in, whether you do get the opportunity to travel, but there are 14 interns within the RD&Q department, and I'd say at least half of them have already travelled, and the other 7 or so probably will get the opportunity to travel later in the year. So yeah, back to you, Rich.
Yeah, cheers for that, Callum. Really good to kind of get a bit of an insight into the various places you've been. Hortense, I understand that from your experience, you've been based in a couple of places within the business. Are you happy just to kind of give us an idea of where you've been?
Yes, for sure. So as I was saying in the beginning, I also did an internship in Belgium for another category, which was the cheese. And I was working for the brand Philadelphia. So this was for me my the international exposure that I had, because I had the possibility to see, now that I'm in France, two ways of doing businesses, even though we are in the same company. The way you're working in France and the way you're working in Belgium is different. And I've also had the chance to work on a brand in Belgium that is actually that actually weights a lot on the European market. So at that time, it was about a new equity campaign that was based on this brand. So it was how to apply the strategy that has been decided in Europe to our country, because of course you have the specificities of the countries, so you have to apply. And so I had the possibility and the chance to be working with the house that was in Zurich, and so to decide on how the strategy they have applied, how do we implement it into Belgium, and how does it work for our specificity in our country in Belgium. Back to you, sorry.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, Hortense. So some of the other questions that we had, a lot of students have been asking kind of what was the transition like from university to coming into the company. Obviously, with internships, it's unlikely. Well, some individuals may have work experience, but some of the guys that are coming into the company, this is potentially one of the first jobs you've got. So one of the questions was mainly how did you transition from student life into working life? Claire, are you able just to give a bit of an overview as to how the company accommodated that?
Yes, of course. So when I came out of school, I knew globally how to handle project management, how the basis about logistics, but it was really key for me to understand how it works, really, project management in this company, Mondelez. So for me, the first months, I had almost between 10 and 15 trainees with all the new members of the product change manager team. And I'm working in chocolate, but biscuit, gum and candy, and chocolate team that are here in Paris. We're all gathering those trainees for all the new people in the team. And I had different trainings, like globally how to handle project management in here, the different kind of projects we have, how to manage each of them, because each of them has specialties, and also how to use all the documents we have, how to use the IT systems we need to be working with, how to work with the master data, so all the logistic people understand a little bit what I'm saying. So all the things we needed to know how to do it, they just trained us in the team. We were 5 new people in the team, and everybody was involved to explain to us, to answer all the questions we had on how to be efficient as a product change manager. And that was really nice to see that everybody was concerned about those new people arriving. And yeah, it was really helpful to have those trainings. Back to you, Rich.
Thank you very much for that, Claire. I know that's familiar with my own experience. I know when I started 3 months ago, I found that everybody, all of my colleagues and people in the wider team were really supportive. And if I wanted just to meet somebody for a coffee to get a bit of an understanding of certain areas, everybody was more than willing to. And I also had substantial training in all the areas that I needed to. Another area that kind of comes under the same umbrella here is support networks. And we've had a couple of questions to do with kind of, did you have anybody that was allied to you when you started just to try and support you into the business? Callum, I understand that you had a buddy when you first started. Are you okay just to kind of talk us through what you experienced?
Yep, so within the RD&Q department, every intern has a line manager, and I'm sure this is the same across other departments, but your line manager gives you your work, and you generally work with your line manager throughout the whole year. And the line manager is part of your team that you're in, and is a senior colleague within the company. But as well as your line manager, you also have a buddy who is also a senior colleague, but in a separate team perhaps within your department, and perhaps part of a team that you wouldn't otherwise get exposure to if you didn't have that buddy. So the buddy's just there to support you during your first few weeks and also throughout the year. It's great just to catch up with your buddy, to let them know how you're getting on, and even find out off them what they're currently taking part in, what projects they're working on. It just gives you an insight into different areas within your department, and doesn't just concentrate on your own team. And it's just a good way to meet other people within the department as well. So yeah, back to you, Rich. Ready?
Yeah, thanks for that, Callum. I know from my own experience, I've got a buddy in the company. He did the same role as me last year, so if you were watching the Google Hangouts then, you'll see that if we're the same person, I've now lost some facial hair. But no, so my buddy's been really helpful coming into the business. He's been giving me a real insight into the department, but also the wider workings of the organisation. So really just somebody to kind of touch base with and ask questions that you wouldn't necessarily ask to other people. So it's a really useful thing that's kind of operates across the business. Now, one of our other main questions that we seem to be receiving from potential viewers was around the kind of projects that we're working on as graduates and interns. Now, Claire, I know that you've been working on quite a number of projects. Are you okay just to pick this question up and kind of give us a bit of an insight?
Yes, of course, Rich. So as a product change manager, I'm currently, only as an intern, I'm currently working on around 10 different projects. So the type of projects I'm handling is like if we want to delist a reference, if we want to add a new one, if we want to change supplier, to have a new recipe, to change the packaging, or to improve the quality of the product, all those kind of things that are directly related to the product. So I'm handling almost a few of the list I just said. And to give you an idea, all the plants are across Europe, and so I'm working with almost all Europe. Depending on the project, sometimes it's only for France, but really often it's at least for the area with Belgium, or sometimes it's almost for all Europe. So I'm working with my product change manager colleague in Europe, but also with other people in Europe. So it's a very international internship. Yes, I have a global view of what is happening in the supply chain, even if I'm working locally in France. I have a view of what is happening in the global supply chain of Mondelez, and as an intern, it's really, really interesting. Back to you, Rich.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much for that, Claire. So another question that we've had is kind of centered around what happens after your internship. Is there any opportunities for you to stay in the business? Hortense, as you mentioned previously, I understand that you had an internship in one area of the business, and now you're in another area now. Are you okay just to kind of give us an idea of how that came about?
Yes, for sure. So of course, Mondelez has internet, so you are able to go everywhere on every platform for each countries, and you can just put your resume and what you want to do, and you can apply in any countries of the company. So that's what's great. For me, I had the chance to work in Belgium previously, so of course you have your personal expertise from the HR of the country you've been working on. So of course that helped me to go to France. But you are able to apply anywhere in Europe and in the world where Mondelez is implemented in, and to offer your resume to work in that company. So just try it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that answer. So yeah, I'd just like to reiterate what Hortense said there. The opportunities are there, but it's down to you to kind of go out and get them, make people aware that that's what you want. But yeah, there's definitely opportunities there once you're in the business. Now, kind of another question that came up a couple of times was what's been the highlight of people's internships in the company. Now, Hortense, are you able just to share with us what your highlight has been so far being in Mondelez?
Yes, for sure. So I've been able to work on my points that I needed to work back when I was in Belgium. So that was about the analysis, the business analysis. So I was able to work more and more on the business parts. That's really important for me, and especially if you want to be a brand manager afterwards. And more so, it's because I was on different brands. The business part is important because you have to be very focused and to be able to give key facts, not working on their details. So it's really good for me. And it was about to work on to give the recommendation. So you've been working on one point for many weeks, for example, and you've prepared your resume on and every details, and then afterwards you give your recommendation, and the highlight was the fact that my recommendation was accepted and we were going on with it. So back to you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. Callum, are you okay just to provide the viewers with a bit of an insight into your highlight?
Yep. So I think in general, working for Mondelez, you are given real responsibility. Even though I'm an intern, my line manager fully expects me to organise trials and be responsible for trial plans and the success of certain trials that may take place. For instance, the trial that we did that took place in Iraq, I had to produce a trial plan, ensure that we had enough team members for the trial, and ensure that everyone that knew within the team that went to Iraq knew what they were doing and what the objective of the trial was. I'm currently assessing the analytical data of the samples that we produced from the trial, and after this I'll produce a report on the trial to determine its success and present this to the rest of my team, who within the team there are some really senior figures. So I think just in general it's quite good, the fact that we are given real responsibility. It's not just, oh, you're an intern, so we won't expect you to be responsible for stuff. They really do give you a responsibility, and that's a highlight in itself, because you feel you're really part of the team and you're really part of the RD&Q department, producing new products for the future, and that's really satisfying. So back to you, Rich.
Cheers for that, Callum. Now on to you, Claire. Are you able just to give us your highlight of your scheme so far?
Yes, so I will join Callum on the team spirit that we have here. It's really incredible how people are just happy to work in the company, happy to work on such products, and it creates a really great spirit and team in here in Paris, but also in whole Europe, because I'm working a lot with my product change manager colleague in all Europe. And more personally, what I really appreciate in here is that I work across Europe, so that means that I have to link with people, even if it's only on the phone, and that's really interesting part. And on the logistically speaking, as a product change manager, I see all what needs to happen between for the products between the supplier and the client. I really see all the parts, even if I don't go into details. Now I know what needs to be done, and that's really key for supply chain interns, supply chain. Appreciate that.
Oh, so unfortunately we've just lost our colleagues in France there. I'm not entirely sure why, but that does bring us to kind of the end of the Google Hangout. Here we were just going to kind of give you some recommend why you should join Mondelez. So personally for me, I'd say it's kind of like it's been touched upon before, the real responsibility that you're given. I've been in the role 3 months. I've been assigned various projects and been given real responsibility and opportunity to deliver on those. And also the European reach and how international the company is globally. My role is European, but I've been able to liaise with people across Europe throughout. It's been really interesting to kind of get an insight into our other countries and what goes on there. Callum, are you okay just to kind of give an idea as why you've recommended internship with Mondelez?
So yeah, I'll sort of reiterate what you said yourself, Richard. Aside from the fact that we work with really exciting brands and products, the general feel-good factor of the company itself, I think, is really high and great. You get the opportunity to meet lots of different people, not necessarily just within your team, and all these different people from different walks of life and different backgrounds, and you really do get you really do learn from their experiences and what they've experienced before in their previous jobs. So yeah, and another thing I would say is that as an intern, there are opportunities to become a part of the company after graduation, and this might not necessarily be within the department you're currently working in. At Mondelez, there's very much a senior managers want people to experience roles within different departments, and if you want to do that, not necessarily limit yourself to one department. If you ask about it, there probably is a strong likelihood that you will get the opportunity to go into a role, say, even within marketing or manufacturing, despite the fact if you were just an RD&Q intern. So there's lots of different opportunities, and if you do get a role within the company, it's a great opportunity to take, and I certainly would recommend it.
Cheers for that, Callum. So that brings us to the close of the end of this Google Hangout, really. So I hope that answered the majority of the questions that were asked. Don't worry, if we didn't get around to your question, I'm going to be going through them and then trying to email out to any answers that we might have for you. If you are watching this on catch up on YouTube, you can insert your comments below the video if you have any more questions, and then a member of the team will get back to you there. But really, I hope this session was informative, and it made you want to apply for our internships. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much for tuning in, and then hopefully good luck with your applications. So see you later, guys. Thank you.